free of all of this lockdown and quarantine situation, then you'll have the full-fledged experience. But it's definitely going to be an ease-in process. Don't necessarily know how long it's going to take, but I think it works. As we are going to be hopping into the game, guys. So without further ado, let's have a look at these compositions once again, as it is going to be the Olaf into the Udyr. Udyr has been pretty awful so far today. He's lost every single game that he's had, but it's Peanut's birthday, and let's see whether he can turn things around after his hard carry Nidalee pop-off in Game 2.
I really like to see either of these teams take a win. It's weird, right? Like, I think if T1 loses this one as well, that just breaks a team, right? Like, there's so much pressure on these guys. You were so dominant in game number 1. And if Peanut's going to show up here, he will be in full vision. And this is the immediate moment for Alan. Might go for a dive here. I do feel like it's a little bit risky.
Yeah, beat drop comes in. That's going to be the tumble. Gets them out of the way. Only level 5, so no solar flares as the teleports come on in. Carrier trying to get as much CC as possible and actually gets the first blood. It's a disastrous Rich just delivered under the turret. Gumayusi grabs a kill and it's all going wrong for Nongshim. They get 1 kill onto Carrier, but it still looks really good. The ulti comes down, but Gumayusi locks down the kill. It's a double for the Vayne. And now Faker rotates in, looks to try and lock down Doctom where he can. The Seraphine trying to run as Faker's already moving over to try and kill her as he takes down the Kai'Sa. And now Kellen's going to be dead as well. That's a big old thumbs up for Zeus. A double kill for the man in the mid lane. And Elm's just farming mid, trying to do what he can, and it's a disaster for Nongshim.
That they overcommit this much is just... That should never happen.
We're going for it again as Carrier doesn't have Aftershock anymore. He's likely to die here as the beat gets dropped, and that is going to be Leona doing the same. And look, they're going to be moving a bit faster. They're going to have some CDR on their ultimates. That's good news as Bay is going to turn back up. He doesn't have a flash, remember. Scatter the Weak is good, but there's a Ragnarok, and that is going to be a very dead Syndra. Faker comes over for the support. And this...
Gumayusi needs to be really respectful here. I think he's dead.
Yep, there's the ulti. Kellen finds it. No, not able to get the extra spell as Carrier does turn up. And it looks like with Olaf coming down,
wow,
Gumayusi is going to be able to even get the minion wave as well. Voitsic, oh god, I was scared. Okay, in he goes. Doctom gets the cleanse and will be able to keep himself alive. Yeah, keep your eye on that one. See whether the shockwave is going to be pivotal, as this is going to be our fight. Nongshim do have Cloud Soul point after this one if they do manage to lock this one down. Even levels on our junglers. Let's see who's going to win this poke war. The orbs coming on in. You can see Bay just trying to get as many of them on the ground as possible. Make sure that Scatter the Weak is as scary as it can be. Throwing through as many as he can. There are so many buttons being pressed, and now Rich pulls the trigger. That's a triple knock-up, and in goes the charm as well. But T1, they keep themselves in it. Shockwave only lands onto Peanut, who soaks a lot of damage and will be taken down. Now Gumayusi trying to take the fight into his own hands, and Bay gets back to the rest of his team.
I try to guide this wave in.
Faker. Oh my god, just gets chunked. The teleport to come forward as well from T1. Now Doctom going to have to get out. Yeah, exactly. They're looking for this one as Zeus body slams over, gets the slow into Doctom immediately. That gets cleansed. Kellen's going to get slowed down. In goes Carrier. Finds Doctom on the backside, who has to Killer Instinct and Flash to get himself out. Faker flashes forward, tries to find Doctom. Doesn't quite have enough damage. And it looks like Nongshim are going to get themselves out of this one. But man,
that flash is really valuable.
Yeah, well, we're going to look for it once again as there's the shockwave. Doesn't do too much as Peanut's able to soak a lot of that damage. That's the Ornhorn from Rich on the backside. Carrier looking to try and make his way out as this Olaf is massive. Peanut will be taken down. Zeus here. Another brick wall that Nongshim have to get through. And it looks like they're running out of resources in order to do so. And you saw, this is what happens. Doctom doesn't have his summoner spells, and it means he cannot get into these fights as effectively.
There is no smite.
Yeah. Peanut's dead. This Baron starting to go down pretty quickly. This will be a 4v5. We'll see whether Baron is going to work out for Nongshim as there are low health bars. Gumayusi's he's at full as now Rich gets body slammed. Doesn't have the Ornhorn, remember, as they will be just taking down this Baron. It's the Olaf able to lock it down, and Rich just too far forward. Unfortunate for the top laner of Nongshim, and they couldn't pull the trigger. They didn't have enough triggers to pull. Rich has started to dole out some of these items, so the gold lead's going to mean less and less as the game goes on. As Peanut, possibly caught in the wrong position, takes a blast cone but gets body slam for it. Slowed down there is now Gumayusi looking to get on top of him. Killer Instinct comes in as Doctarm moves out of the way, cleanses. The barrel goes completely wide, but Peanut still going to be taken down. Now Elam finds himself in the front line. Carrier trying to be a hero as Doctarm will be taken down on the back end. Rich trying to flash away as Gumayusi takes position on the front line. Elam gets rid of the Seraphine in like 1 or 2 axes. She is so squishy. Bay's going to get slowed down, and I think that this is going to be the game. It's a great stopwatch from Bay, but unfortunately he's dead as an afterthought. Reset now on these Nexus turrets.
The 600th game of the living legend in the mid lane, Faker. A justified win, 41 here after.
It was his birthday a little while ago. Unfortunately for Peanut, it's his birthday today, but was unable to come away with the win. And this is your post-game graph. Some pretty understandable numbers. Unfortunate for Peanut to not do too much, but as an Udyr, it's very difficult. If you fall behind at any point, to be able to make that one work. And you saw Nongshim, they tried to set up for that, you know, that gold lead that would be just linear and move towards their victory. And you can see as soon as it makes that switch, that's that dive on the bottom side, which unfortunately...
Thank you very much, guys. And Faker was able to celebrate his historic 600th game here in the LCK with a win. First, let's take a look at the draft. T1, this time around, they locked in their AD carry champion in the very last pick, and that was Vayne. So with the Syndra lock-in, it was obvious that Syndra was, Seraphine was rotating down to the support role. Vayne does have a rough time into Seraphine during the laning phase, but T1 was able to overcome this kind of weakness. So you once again realize that draft doesn't really impact the result of the game, but still, what they pull off in game matters more. Orianna can play really well in the laning phase and team fight, but on top of that, she has a really nice synergy that creates with Olaf pick in the jungle. So instead of banning out Orianna when teams are locking in Olaf, maybe they should also consider just locking in this Orianna-Olaf duo. And this pick coming out from T1, especially in the mid lane, it's kind of a message over to Nongshim and forcing them not to pick Udyr, but Nongshim still stick to this Udyr pick and they were not able to make the best value out of this jungle champion. I want to point out that T1's comp has a really huge poke damage onto the Nongshim comp, so they actually can zone out the opponent players before they actually try to dive on. Let's take a look at this failed bottom dive attempt coming out from Nongshim. Because they were so caught up with the Tri-Brush ward, they actually missed out on the fact that there was also another ward to the behind. And Udyr always makes a clear sign that he's diving onto the opponent because of these stance changes. So T1 was well and ready in order to take this fight and actually re-engage and get away with a huge win. And the engagement coming out from Nongshim was not also on point because actually Peanut was taking too much turret aggro. I think we are not seeing the best teamwork possible coming out from Nongshim, and also maybe the players are not actually that used to this new kind of comp that they are trying. Syndra also was really late with the TP, so she also got actually outplayed by the Orianna, who just walked down to join this fight in the end. And that also guaranteed a lot of gold going over to the carry laners on the side of T1. So Vayne, even though this was having a hard time in the laning phase, she was able to overcome this kind of problem with that bonus kills. And let's take a look at the final team fight where T1 is able to solidify their lead. Nongshim was actually looking for a pick in order to turn the table around, but T1 was way too ahead to get caught out by the Nongshim players. Peanut was looking for some picks, so he was running around in the jungle, but T1 was already too fed, so he got caught out. And T1 easily picked up multiple kills after this fight. So we also want to point out that T1's comp has a really strong teamfight ability, but at the same time, their sustained damage is also really huge. Well, prior to this play, T1 was able to get ahead with the Baron play as well. And T1 was always there when Udyr was looking for some setup. So we want to give a shout out over to T1 players making up some better setup than the opponents. T1 was able to overcome the loss in game number 2. And let's take a look at the player of the game. It's going to be Faker, the man of game number 600 here in the LCK. First POG of the split, going over to this superstar in the LCK. Very interesting. First POG on his 600th game in the domestic league. We also want to take a look at the goal difference instead of the other damage stats, because Faker was able to get ahead of the opponents. So Syndra was just eliminated in this game. She was not doing any work on her side. On the other hand, Faker was exerting so much pressure all around the map. Nongshim was not able to find the angle to actually engage because of that Orianna orb. Faker, because he was having the flash, he was taking a very safe spot in the backline and doing massive damage and helping out his teammates to kind of dive onto the opponent as well. And Keria was able to pick up some of the POG as well, and also Zeus, who is having a successful debut here in the LCK.